Good afternoon. Je suis très heureux d'avoir la chance de vous présenter ma recherche aujourd'hui, mes chers collègues de équi-tourisme. And as this is the extent of my French, I will switch to English. I am a professor of rural tourism at Håla University College. I'm also the owner of several horses and the enthusiast of the horse roundups. And before explaining these events, I just want to draw your attention to the fact that what I'm talking about today is very much very opposite what we were treated to with this beautiful show from the Cadre Noir that we saw today. So we are talking about very different traditions here because the horse roundups are really remaining traditions of a working agricultural environment where the horse is a working horse. These horse roundups, they are to some extent unique to this region, but they're also from a certain perspective a generic thing because they are essentially a harvest festival. I use these events to research and also as a teaching tool in my courses in the bachelor program in both tourism and event management. And I'm also hoping to attract master students to our horse-based research. Why are we herding our horses? And this is, of course, a bit unique to Iceland in that we have a lot of land. And horse breeders and trainers in Iceland commonly believe that the best and most natural way to raise foals and young horses is in the herd. And it is commonly believed that this is a vital attribute of the Icelandic horse and horsemanship in Iceland, or equestrianism in Iceland. So the horse farming in Iceland is based on the premise of having access to pastures for large number of horses, both for stallions and mares and for herds without stallions. And in my region, Northwest Iceland, the mares that are not to breed that summer and the foals are herded up to the mountain pastures for the summer, for 3 months, and then they're collected in the fall at the horse roundup. And these roundups are taking place in late September, early October. It involves 1 to 3 days of riding across the highlands to gather the horses and herd them down to the corrals on the lowland. And on the left, you will have a view of the commons of the pastures in my region. A beautiful valley full of horses in the summer. It's quite nice. And on the right-hand side is my old mare and the foal that will be, to some extent, the subject of this talk, about 24 hours old at this point. Now, the horse roundups, they have, we are using participant observation, and excuse me, I'm moving a little bit too fast here. Can I back up? Well, so we are basically looking at what people are doing and what the mood is. And we are researching the horse roundups as part of rural development and tradition of horse farmers. It has become a tourism attraction. They have been marketed as tourism attractions for equestrian tourism, that is for people who want to ride and help in the collecting, and also for equine tourism, that is people who simply want to watch. So they appeal to tourists as heritage tourism, as agritourism, and also as equitourism. And of course, our scholarly interest is diverse as well, because we're thinking about equine landscapes, agricultural heritage, theory of the commons, and there's an interesting component of visiting friends and relatives tourism involved here. And of course, it's very much about tourism experience. And as these were not, of course, originally intended for tourism consumption, they also offer some insights into how about the social sustainability of tourism. Now, The case that I wanted to talk about is 2010, and here we are on Saturday morning, September 25th, 2010, heading to the valley, and as you see, it's already snowing in the mountains, and we are going to get the horses, a group of about 700 horses, among them my grey mare and the foal. And I haven't seen it since spring, so this is of course doubly exciting. And as you see here, there is some pausing before the herding, and the herd master is directing people, and the most experienced riders, they will go and gather horses from the mountain tops. The rest of us hang around on the lowland, and the tourists, they watch from a safe distance. And more people, of course, are constantly arriving. And you can see that this is a group event, so you have people of all ages basically participating, children and old people, and both local and tourists. There are some very festive traditions associated. On the left-hand side, you have a local woman who has signified herself or distinguished herself as local by the braids that she's wearing in her hair. It's a group of women, the younger women in the region, they show that they are insiders by braiding their hair in 2 braids on only this day of the year. And furthermore, she and her aunt and her family, they come up with a new sweater. This is an Icelandic sweater, a very traditional pattern, but they design a new one every year to commemorate the roundup. And of course, it has a horse theme. And there is local hospitality. Liquid rural hospitality is sort of on offer, as you see on the bottom right. So here you have a kind of contemporary twist to this. But the key moment for the spectators is really when the herd comes from the mountain and runs downhill towards the corral. There are about 2,200 people that attend this event at a corral that is just a structure on the lowland. And you see on the top left-hand side, you see the horses coming down, and they are running to the gate. And I hope I can show you just a brief video to get a soundscape. Is that possible? Nothing's happening. No, I wanted there's a video behind this one.
Video and clicking on it?
Mm-hmm.
It's a problem with your PowerPoint.
Double click here. No, okay, sorry. But what happens at this moment is, because the corral is sitting in the landscape so that the people are standing below and the horses are above. This is very spectacular when you get 700 horses rushing towards you, and this is what people come to see, and what photographers, for instance, come to see, to get some good horse pictures. But it's a very different type of horsemanship. So you see the horses, they've been working all day. It's walk and trot, and you're not really, you're very lucky if you can get your horse to do a couple of tilt paces, steps, just as your husband is clicking with the camera. But then, of course, it's a picnic, and it's also a gathering where there's lots of singing, and spontaneous singing. Mostly the men, and you see on the bottom right, what happens is that people just gather around this corral, which is a round concrete structure, where people mill about, and the corral is kind of a boundary, so that you are on the outside as a spectator. You do not go inside where the horses are being herded and gathered, unless you're invited. And what you do, most of these 2,000 people are simply there to watch and talk and sing and enjoy themselves. But the original purpose, of course, is to gather your horses. There I am, reunited happily with my old mare and her scrawny foal. And the concentration on the farmer's face, they are really concentrated just on getting their farm animals, their horses back, whereas the rest of the group is just having a festival. But as you see on the overview, this is what the corral looks like, and it's very crowded in the middle where you have the horses, and then you have to go and find your horses into the corral. And that's basically for the people who are locals and who own the horses. And the others are sort of standing on the periphery, it's quite a nervous excitement because the horses have been running all day. Mares and foals may have become separated, so the horses are a bit nervous. So there's a lot of energy, it's a fast-paced thing in the corral. But the wall is kind of the boundary. And of course there are rules and traditions. You're welcome to watch, but please do not get in the way. And of course it's a marketplace as well. And you selling crafts and things like that. And for the visitors, it's a chance to see hundreds of horses in a kind of a wild state, to meet lots of people, and of course to enjoy the traditions associated with the event. But for the locals, it's simply about horse farming, about getting your horses back from the pastures. But to an increasing point, it's also a marketplace for tourism products. So what is also interesting is that this combination of a spontaneous horse show, participating in the herding, and harvest fest spirit, they all happen in a place where there are basically no facilities. It's just a concrete structure that is used 2 days a year, 1 day for herding sheep, the other day for herding horses. Then there's a parking lot, and that's it. There's no other facilities. Yet, 95% of the visitors that I've surveyed are very happy with their visit and with their experience, as you can see from the pictures on the site, where you have obviously a local woman as well. So, and interestingly, of course, as you can probably imagine, my horses feel very much the same. They are, of course, herd animals, so it is my experience as while the 2,300 or so humans go about attending their human business, the horses are, of course, this is a social event for them as well. And there you see, for instance, one of my geldings greeting the foal that is back with their little group of horses. And I think that the more I participate in this, and I really like this event, is it becomes more and more important for me as somebody with horses to participate. And my horses really perk up, and they realize exactly what's going on when we all gather around on a cold September morning and ride up to the valley. And I imagine that for them, they must think that running with 700 is maybe like a New Year's Eve on Champs-Élysées, or the Roskilde Festival, or Easter Mass at the Vatican. And that sort of concludes my presentation. Thank you very much.